My name's Matt, welcome back to Xenomorph Universe, and the subject that I want to talk about today is actually something that was brought up in the comments. So I did a video basically talking about why I thought Alien Covenant was crap, and so on and so on. I don't really want to retread that ground. But someone did make a good point, is something that I really wasn't that aware of because I'm not really in the ethos of these new crappy films. And it's something I want to talk about as well, about good science fiction films and usually bad science fiction films. So one of the things that I'm just briefly going to talk about Star Wars, one of the beautiful things that George Lucas did was to just do the galaxy far, far away thing. It can be any time, it can be anywhere, and if he says galaxy far, far away, then he gets away with pretty much absolutely anything. Nothing can pretty much be wrong apart from continuity between films, and that's in your hands to mess up yourself. When we actually look at the Alien films, one of the interesting things is to not put a date to anything. Now I'm pretty sure that in the first Alien there was no mention of dates. In Aliens there was no real mention of dates unless it was in the background or something like that. Maybe Brett and Dallas's case files had a number on. But again, it wasn't really mentioned. And Alien 3, there might have been some dates when they actually contact Bishop's ship that is on the way to pick up Ripley. But as far as I know, that there really isn't anything that grounds it with dates. It's only the extended universe stuff and the things after that, like Alien Resurrection, where they mention the date and then mention that Ripley died 300 years ago or whatever. That dates can be assigned to these things, and then there's obviously comic books and what have you that have then basically assigned dates to all of this. But disregarding them and just looking at the three films, like that's what this channel is all about, is looking at the three good films. The fact that you do not assign a time to your science fiction films is a very clever way of, one, not getting yourself in hot water, but number two is it means that you don't really have to be careful when you do sequels and what have you, especially if in the future you want to start doing prequels. So if you look at something like Minority Report or other films like this, when they start quoting 2030, or let me just take a James Cameron film, weirdly enough, it's kind of related to the Aliens trilogy. James Cameron, said 1997 and other dates like that. And these dates come and go, and it kind of seems a bit ridiculous when you actually get to those dates. One of the beautiful things about Aliens and Alien 3 is that because there's no real dates assigned to them, they could be at any time. So the more we progress and still don't make it to that kind of technical level, we can still, even to this day, say, well, it's well in the future or whatever. It's obviously when we have, truckers in space kind of thing, when space flight, long distance space flight, interplanetary travel, or interstellar, travelling through interstellar space becomes one of those things that we don't need to really worry that, date-wise, we don't need to worry about. So, to that end, one of the problems with this whole Prometheus Covenant story is that someone said to me, and I actually looked it up, saying that the time scale between Covenant and Alien is meant to be 18 years, which is absolutely ridiculous, because when we look at Alien, when we look at LV-426, we have the derelict, a ship or not, but we have the Bone ship, the derelict, we have the space jockey, to which Dallas says it looks like it's fossilised, and when we look at it, it does look like it's fossilised. And if this was meant to be an engineer, we've seen the insides of an engineer or what have you, fossilised, in 18 years? And obviously this crash hasn't happened yet because the Xenomorphs haven't, encountered the engineers yet. It's meant to be the storyline of Alien Awakening or whatever rubbish they're going to call it. So this is after 17, basically we're cutting into that 18 years, which then becomes ridiculous. There was now thousands and thousands of eggs of Xenomorphs in a Bone ship, and a Prometheus engineer got infected and then managed to fossilise in a quick amount of time. Now, in the vacuum of space, or someone like LV-426, actually the opposite would happen. You would be preserved really quite well. Hence why there was a stasis field to keep the eggs alive that we can see that Kane ends up basically falling into in the first film. So by assigning dates to things, Ridley Scott has really just basically cut off his pecker in this respect, because he's now confined himself, and he always keeps on going on about how he's going to explain this, and they're all going to need, match up neatly and all the rest of it. Well, you've just fucked yourself in the arse here with your 18 years, because you are now eating into this 18 years. You're going to say it's 3 or 4 years, or maybe 10 years later. It's just, and this is the problem with one, assigning dates to things, and number two is, this is the problem with making shit films. Hope that makes sense. I'm sure people are going to go absolutely mental in the comments below. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next time.